Hello, everybody. Welcome to our new podcast episode. We are Dunya and Ivan. I live in Germany and Dunya lives in Spain. We are sisters, we are biologists. And in this episode, we are going to talk about a bit more emotional stuff. We are going to talk about family and friends. How do we feel when we move abroad? How do we see our friends and family? But more into detail, we are going to talk about how was it for us before moving? How does this detachment phase and the first crisis and how is it for us during the move? And when we get used to it, how did we feel? And did we make some kind of strategy or did it naturally occur, the feelings and experiences and everything kind of settled? And now, after 1 year and a half for me and around 10 years for Dunya,
A bit less than 10 years.
when we look back and when we look at it from the present situation, how does it feel?
I would just like to mention that we are going to focus on our emotions and feelings, but it's going to be related with getting separated from family, from friends, from basically environment and people that you know in your home country and moving away to another place where you don't know anyone. And how do you maintain the old relationships and how do you build a new one?
Yeah, exactly. Detaching from the environment and from friends and family and attaching to new one, it can be quite intense. So let's
Yes, let's dive in.
Yes. So let's start first. And I would like to ask you, how was it for you before the move? Or how did you have this kind of feeling? You took a bit more time to move, but did you have any strange feelings or situations during the moving period?
As you said, this process of leaving for me took a while. And this, for me, built a bit of attention, especially, I would say, with my parents, because the good thing was that they really wanted me to leave. They were supporting this part of my intention because they could see that in Serbia things were getting worse, that career-wise I have not many options, and they were happy to support me to leave. But this was a slow process for me, and they did not understand why it was so slow. Of course, they had not much previous experience with moving. They did not have experience themselves. They did not have many friends or family members who left before me, and they could not understand why it's taking so long. For them, it was just simply you apply for a job, and of course, if you are good enough, you are competitive, and everybody will want you so badly. Actually, it doesn't work like that because especially for people who don't have much.
Yeah, I just think it's important to say that we come from this kind of old conservative family where both of them basically finished university, found a job, and that was it. Like, if you are good, you stay at this job until the end of your life. So also like wanting to change, wanting to move abroad, yes, they support you, they support your decision, but it was really hard to understand.
Yes, especially I think for our parents, this was difficult, not just because they were kind of traditional, but it was because both of them, they all have occupations that are quite efficient in Serbia. So our father worked before retirement, he worked as a radiologist, and our mother is a elementary school math teacher. And in Serbia, both of these occupations are quite efficient. And basically, you don't have to look for a job. You just need to ask for it wherever you go. They thought if you know your job, of course, the people will employ you without a problem and stuff. And they could not understand that at today's market, you first need to have experience. Like many people suffer with that they are starting, if they're starting right from the university, they are looking for a job for quite a long time. They start with like sometimes very bad entry level jobs. So just they can build experience. And this is not just in biology, I would say. And especially if you are as a non-EU citizen trying to apply for any kind of job, was it working in a company or working at the university as a PhD student, you have to compete with the rest rest of the world. And of course, EU citizens have advantage because first, the system of education is more similar, it's more recognized, and second, people don't have to bother with this kind of administrative stuff once you invite someone to work for you. Sometimes if you are non-EU citizen, you have a couple of months of delay. So for someone who is just starting their career, it's very difficult to persuade a potential employer that you are worth the trouble, or at least many occupations, the ones that are deficient in EU, of course, it's a bit easier, but it's not easy. So this made me a bit frustrated. It made them frustrated, and we had some kind of misunderstandings. It was not easy, especially because I was living with my father because our parents are divorced. I was living with my father at the time,
And me.
and yes, you were there as well. So yeah, simply it was something that was not helping me in this situation. And of course, I could never think of, if I leave, I am going to miss my family. No, right now I am not thinking about that at all, because first, I'm having arguments almost regularly with my family. And second, I'm now super focused on leaving. So I am not going to even think about it.
Yeah, I think our thoughts at that moment, it's like you're just thinking to leave and what can you do to leave. In my case, it was kind of similar because we were always picking this fight just to fight. I think in our family, the love language is kind of, who screams more, loves the other person more. So
You
I
care
think,
more.
yeah, exactly. So let's compete. I think that for that reason as well, like you just pick fight one way, then you feel better to leave. We are fighting a lot. I can't wait to leave. But on the other way, it's love. I can't imagine because for you it was really much longer. For you, it was probably this talking. You fight, you talk nicely, you fight, you talk nicely for a very long time.
Yeah, but for you, it was also some kind of similar situation at the time. No?
Yeah, I think for me it was because I was going on this internship few years before I moved. So I was going for internships abroad, and every time before going, we would fight. And then when I would come back, they would miss me, we would miss each other, and then it's nice. But then let's fight again because why not? And then before going to Germany, it was this process of like 6 months to apply for visa. And I think it was just picking fight. But then you feel better because you're leaving, so you miss each other less. Of course, it doesn't work that way, but I think that's just what brain does without us noticing. And it's a lot of pressure, and you just want to move. You just want to go and to finally get the visa and to finally settle in a new country, and you can't wait for that.
Yeah, that's the thing that you think about the most at that moment. And you cannot really focus on like, okay, when I leave, because I don't even know when and if I'm going to leave, you cannot really focus on thinking, yeah, am I going to miss my family and this stuff? And how was with your friends? Were you talking about these plans to move with your friends? Were you maybe mentioning like how it's going to be once you move, the friendship and such stuff?
Yes. Yes, it was, I think it got especially hard in the end because I had this small group of friends where we studied together for the exam. Basically finished my degree with them. Then there were no exams to study. We didn't meet every day anymore. And it felt so weird to just finish bachelor studies and even more to know that I will leave and not see them anymore. On the other hand, I had like a really nice community, let's say, of people in this science center in Serbia, where we were a group of, let's say, 10 people. And it really felt familiar and felt like family. And now I know that I have to go to a different country and not have this feeling anymore. And on the side, I had some people that was really close to. And in Germany, I had one close person. So I know that it's already a lot because some people really don't have anyone in a place where they move to. But I was super focused on finishing and just leaving. But on the other hand, it was always, when we meet, it was like, yeah, I'm so sorry. I will miss you a lot. How am I going to move and not see you anymore? And these kind of conversations. But of course, inside, you just wanted to leave and to finally move and to get it over with, because it was getting really long and you're saying goodbye for a very long time, and then it just gets hard and becomes too much. But I don't know, did you have something similar? Because for you it was quite longer.
Yes, it was longer, but I don't think we ever like really consider it like what is going to happen after I move. And I have like a lot of friends from my hometown. Some of them are still in our hometown. Some of them live in Belgrade now, but most of them are like either our hometown, which is close to Belgrade, it's also not far away, or living in Belgrade. And at that time, I think most of them still lived in our hometown. I think most of them, they came back after university for a while. I had a couple of them that I met during the studies, and they were in Belgrade. And then I was mentioning to them that I am working or living. Of course, they were like not against it or anything. It's just that like I always felt that when I'm talking about this topic, that I am talking about topic that is not of interest. Not that they were not supportive, of course, but they were not in the same situation as I was, so they could not really advise me. They could not really give me whatever, like some experience that they read on Facebook about, because they were just not in this topic. And then I got to really work out the entire strategy myself. I maybe heard of like a couple of stories from a couple of friends remotely applicable to me, and most of the strategy I got to figure out myself. Of course, they were supportive.
No, I just wanted to say
Yes,
that
yes.
I think that when you want to move abroad, it's a quite lonely world, because people that are around you, they haven't experienced it. So they want to be good friends. They want to listen to you, but they don't know what you experience. And as you said, they cannot advise you. And also, yes, there is basic empathy, and they can feel that you are suffering, but they still cannot quite grasp what you're going through. And I think for me, I was quite lucky because I had you, that you went through it. So you knew what kind of struggle it was and why I would need some kind of paper and how to get it and this kind of stuff. But you were quite alone in all that.
Yeah, for example, I got even situation when I was telling this to one of the professors at our university, and then she said that she heard about a guy. He was, I think, in Serbia, and he was not living abroad. I think he was just going for a couple of internships, and he was spending a couple of years abroad during his studies. And she heard about him, and she said, "Okay, maybe I can like connect you with him and help you in that way." So what I did is like I called this guy, and yes, he gave me a couple of advices regarding the language courses, for example, and certificates. But of course, he was not really like okay. He was traveling a couple of places, but I could not hold on to anything that he told me, because no, he was not there where I wanted to go or whatever. So yes, I was even holding on this kind of connections for some time, because I had no people around me who at least we can discuss it. Like they're also looking for going somewhere or thinking about going somewhere, and at least we can search it together or exchange the ideas or information or anything.
If people around us went for a stay abroad or something related to being abroad for longer, they could relate more. And then what you said, it wasn't a topic of interest. They cannot connect to it in any way. So then they let you speak, they give you space to say what's on your mind, but it's it. That there is no more exchange. In that sense, it's kind of hard with friends, because you have so many of them, and you don't want to not be able to see them anymore or as often as you want. But then on the other side, you feel so misunderstood or not understood.
Yeah, it's just that you're not on this topic. You have nothing to talk about, basically.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
of course, you can talk about many things, but this thing that you are spending a lot of time focused on, you cannot really talk much. And of course, they can listen to you, as you said, but except for that, it's not going to help.
Yeah.
much more. Yeah, this was like maybe our situation or my situation, because I guess it's not the same for everybody, at least in that sense.
It always depends on the people that you have around you. And as I said, I really think we have great friends in Serbia. We have different circles of friends, but we just don't have someone who had a similar experience, and there is nothing that you can do about it. But during the time of moving, how was it for you? Like when you got there, and let's say you were okay, I'm staying here. How was it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I moved to Lons, and I like already spent some time there, coming and going. And the institute in Lons is quite small institute. It had very few people who were actually based in Lons, like full time. There were many people who were actually working like half time in Lons, and then they were going back to Vienna, for example. They lived there. I think I was a bit lucky because shortly after I started my PhD there, and I moved like full time, the situation started to change a little bit, in the sense that there were more people coming there to like be there for a couple of years, like full time. They were spending a whole week there, and that we could really become friends, maybe spend weekends together and this kind of stuff. So in that sense, it was, I started making new friends very shortly after I started my PhD there. But then I started realizing, okay, once I secured first like my residence permit, and then I started securing my funding, I started realizing, okay, but now you are not going to be able to see your family so many times anymore. And I think the hardest part was the fact that I realized that I'm going to start missing a lot of family and friend celebrations, like birthdays and other important events in the family. For example, someone got a job, someone got a promotion, marriages, baptisms, this kind of stuff that I am either going to miss it, or it's going to be quite a struggle to squeeze it in. And yeah, this is something that I don't know. First, you don't like realize it so much, but at some point it really hits you. I'm not sure at which point it actually hits you. I think for me, it was the situation when I realized I don't have to worry so much about fundings, and that I am now here to stay, and I don't have to worry about this so
Yeah,
much anymore.
I think when you secure the funding and your visa and the place to live, then the adrenaline starts wearing off because you were always in such a struggle. You were always so intense, and the hormones were all over the place, and you were focused on the goal. And then once you got to the goal, and once you don't have to worry so much about existential topics and questions, I think that's when you start thinking about family, friends, people in your life. And that's when this loneliness goes through, and just missing, not home, because I mean, if you loved your home in a sense of job and environment, you wouldn't move. Um,
Yeah.
but people that were in your life, I mean, it's not their fault. So
They're kind of collaterals.
exactly. So then you start missing them, and as you said, then something happens. Then there is this marriage, wedding, or I don't know. For example, for me with our nephew's first birthday, it was really like, okay, I have to plan this. I have to plan to be there, and you have to book a ticket in advance. You have to plan your stay and this kind of stuff. So I guess it has these highs and lows, and it's a process.
Yes, definitely. Yes, it's sometimes even still it hits me. Of course, I know that it cannot be there for everything, but some events are still like you feel worse than usually when you realize that you have to miss it. Yes, you just simply cannot be there for everything. And actually, what we maybe forgot to mention, you cannot be there for good or for bad. Actually, this is another important thing, that of course you are going to miss nice things, but you are also going to miss some sad things, and you also cannot be there for all of them either.
Yes.
And yeah, this is just simply a price that you pay for, yeah, being
Yeah,
away.
definitely. It's not, I mean, when bad things happen, and like example is family bad things. People get old and people get sick, and you're just away. It's one thing is that you want to be there yourself and experience it and go through it. And the other thing is you want to be there for your family to go through it with them. And then you realize that you're far away and it's really hard to know that you can't do anything about it from the distance.
Yeah, it's also like not knowing what is going on, kind of feeling helpless. That you, one thing, yes, as you said, you cannot be there with them, but also being away and not knowing what is happening. And yeah,
I think it's a really a double-edged sword because on one side you are away and you can't feel things as intense as your other family members feel it at that point because you're away, not in that environment, you are doing other things. And just as an example, when I was in Chile, there were these student protests started. It happened that this canopy fell at the train station, 15 people died, and people started rioting on the streets. First students and then citizens. I knew that the shit is happening and I was following it, but you can't feel it as intense as they do. You're not there. You're not in that environment. Why I say it's a double-edged sword is in one way, you are kind of spared all that misery and all that everything that they're going through. But on the other side, they're still your people and it's still your country. So of course you cannot ignore it. In some of these events, you really don't know how to feel, and you feel like you got off easily, you know?
Yeah, it's like you don't have to worry about the outcome maybe so much, but still you care about, because it's not like, maybe not the best said, like you are not there, so you're not experiencing it, because your life, the way how your life is going to look like tomorrow, but just strictly your life, it's not dependent on that so much. But on the other hand, of course, you care about everybody that is there, and you have like family, friends, you care about people in general. And of course, this is, and then you cannot do anything basically. What you cannot do much, at least from distance. And then this part hurts actually.
Exactly. And if we go into more personal level, and if we take a look at the family relationship, somebody, I mean, it's sad, but it happens. Somebody in the family died. It's hard to know when to come to your country, to be there for your family, to be there with your family. But on the other side, you're gonna come back to your environment and you have a life here. So you are not as affected as people that live in our country, as our family that lives there, because they are the ones that have these routines and they experience everyday life with a certain person that could possibly die. And they're the ones that are, I don't know, walking by the flat of that family member. They are the ones that are visiting that family member all the time and these kind of stuff. So if this person is not there anymore, they're going to be way more affected. But of course, we are affected in a different way because, as you said, it's this helpless feeling. You don't know what to do from here, but then again, you feel like you're not as affected. I don't know if I explain it right.
I mean, you're not getting, for example, you're not getting reminded every day of that.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Yes, yes.
Yes, you have this kind of distance that, of course, you remember a certain stuff. You remember that if someone dies, the person is not with you anymore, but you don't have a everyday reminder that this person is not there. I don't know if it's for good or for bad, actually, because sometimes maybe once you go home, it hits you a bit more than a person that is there every day and has more time and space to actually adjust to this situation.
Mm. Yeah, I think that goes the
Difficult
same
to
with,
say.
yeah, I think it goes the same with double-edged sword thing because in one way it can be good, but in the other way it's super bad.
So How was it for you when you moved and you were in a new environment and the missing started and meeting new people started? How did it work for
Yeah,
you?
as I said, I had a friend here, so I felt I moved and I have a flat where I will live. I have my friend, started my new master. I have a job, so I felt like I have everything. But then you slowly, when you're at the university all day and you are working after that, and you basically, it's like you don't have time, but all you have is time to think, right? So this loneliness penetrate, and then you realize that you miss this community, family, friends that you had at home. And I remember I started phoning with my mother more often because I think she always wants to talk to us. And I think it's the same for you and me. Like when you don't have anything to do, and you feel like talking to someone, I just call our mother. She always wants to talk. She always has a gossip to say, or she always just wants to listen. She's interested in what we are doing. So I think I started doing that way more often. And then all these fights from before, and just this feeling that we move kind of hit. And then I kind of felt lonely and realized that, okay, I've been running all around a lot, moving the visa, settling in the new environment. It was quite a lot. And now I actually want someone to tell them about this, just, get it off my chest. But this community is in Serbia. So and when you are away, of course, it's not the same. And with some people, especially when you are in Serbia, like when you grow up in one country and you have these friends all your life or some years, you are used to this kind of friendship that you have these friends from home, and then they don't think about you leaving. And once you leave, then you lose some people. So then you don't know anymore who to talk to and how many friends you have left. And then, yeah, I guess when you settle and then you start reaching out to the people from your home country and just getting more interested in their life, in what's happening in their life once you're gone, and they show the interest back, I think then you start building these friendships again and continuing with them.
Yeah, it's some adjustment period, definitely, to get used to a new dynamic. I think the good thing is that nowadays, at least, there are many groups, on WhatsApp, for example. And I think this helps a lot because my friends from childhood, when I was there in Serbia, and I saw one of them, and then I said, okay, let's meet like all together so I can meet the other ones because I haven't seen you in months. And this friend told me, well, we also did not see each other since the last time you were here because, yeah, it's life. Things are just getting, busy. And sometimes of course, some of them, because we are bigger group. Some of them, because they're living closer, they see each other more often. But some of them, they don't see each other because they work in a different place. They are busy during the week. They are tired during the weekend. And yeah, sometimes it happens that they don't see each other for this whole period that I am not there. And then they have a good excuse to meet when I am there. And they have to find the time. So
Yes.
I think this modern stuff like WhatsApp groups, Viber groups, it helps a lot in maintaining friendships.
Yes, but I don't know, like, did you have this feeling or like thought that, sure, you are the one that left, right? You are the one that moved away, but your friend and you consider being close friends. But then there's no kind of initiative or no will for them to come and see you. If my friend moved away, I would feel like I would really like to see where they live. I would really like to see what they accomplished. And if they move for studies or work or something, I would really like to go and see that. And for me, it kind of hurt that not for the sake of seeing what I accomplished or whatever, but just for the sake of staying in touch and meeting more often, very little of my friends actually saw the initiative to come and visit. And that kind of hurt in this period.
Well, this is one of the reasons why you're living abroad and they are not. First place, it's that we are all different and we have different ideas about things. I have a couple of friends and family members who are visiting regularly, but majority of them are not. Some of them will show interest, but it's going to be difficult for them to find time, to find whatever they're looking for to go somewhere. Some of them will not even show interest. And this doesn't mean that they don't care about you or that they don't miss you. I think it's just not the way how they are thinking. This could actually be
Yeah.
solution. Let's go and visit my friend. So not just she's coming here so we can see each other, but I can also go there. Or as you say,
Yeah.
I want to see where my friend is living. Or I am going to use the opportunity that I see a new place when my friend is there. Yes, some people are just not
Yeah.
thinking like that.
Yeah, I think for me in that period, what hurt kind of the most was that, let's say, mindset, or what I experienced was that I was always getting these texts from some people that were really close to me. I don't know, like, I meet you, when are you coming back? We'll meet as soon as possible, and this kind of thing. But let's meet as soon as possible is you come as soon as possible back to Serbia and then we meet. And then once I'm in Serbia, like, I usually don't go for such a long time because I mean, you always have things to study, you have work and this kind of stuff. And then it's like, yeah, when I'm in Serbia, yeah, let's meet whenever works for you and this kind of thing. I appreciate them making time for me and being like, yeah, whatever works for you. But then this is a great initiative and this is a great excitement, but I exist even when I am abroad. I don't know. It's just, I still cannot grasp that.
But do you get the impression that sometimes, like when you go to Serbia, of course, your friends really want to meet you and they are going an extra mile to meet you than they would go to meet a friend who is in Serbia. As I said,
Yes,
because
yes,
some friends of mine, they don't even meet in the meantime. And they're really trying very hard when you are there to actually be available for you. But I get this feeling that once you are there, sometimes your friends are like, okay, but you're here. Now you're here. So you are just meeting people, right? And then it's like, yes, but this is your priority right now, that you meet people and that we see each other. As it's not like that. It's not just like that every time for me. For example, sometimes I go there, but I am doing home office. So I also have
yes,
working hours.
yes.
I also
Or
have
you,
many things.
no, I mean, you come for different reasons. You have maybe some bureaucratic work to finish.
Yes,
Maybe
exactly.
you came for a dentist because Serbia is very famous for dentists, or
Super.
just yes, to do something, and they think, as you said, yeah, yeah, you came to meet people, so yeah, let's make an agenda.
Yeah, but even if you just there to meet people, you're not the only person that I need to meet. I can like a long list of relatives, closer family members, friends, closer friends. It's just insane. Like sometimes people see you as being on holidays when you're there. And it's not like that because you have a long list of things that you want to do because yes, you sometimes have work, sometimes you have appointments, administration, yeah, checkups, whatever. Yeah.
Yes, but I really think this is kind of in the beginning. This feeling that I described and what you said, that people expect that you are there to see them and that you can meet every day while you're there.
Yeah, it's also
But
like
then,
an adjustment period, right?
yeah,
Adjustment
exactly.
period.
So then after that, after coming back to the home country a few times and going back to your new country a few times, you yourself get used to seeing people in that way and seeing family. And they get used to the fact that, okay, you move. And when you come, okay, maybe you have some other things to do. Maybe, yes, you're busy and these kind of things. It's as you said, adjustment period for all.
Yeah. I think with time, people realize that you actually cannot meet everybody every time, that you don't have so much time when you are there. And then you're going to see each other when things are just working out for both of you. And that's how it is. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then, at least for me, it was that you just realize that sometimes you don't talk to some people for a long time, or you don't see them for a long time. And of course, family members, but with family, it's different. Like some family members you see often, some not, some moved away, some you only see for birthdays and this kind of stuff. But with friends, it's a bit different, like the dynamic. And I think after a while, you realize that you don't have to talk every day, like you don't have to text every day, you don't have to meet every day, not every month. And when you meet, you're still friends. And yes, you go back to home country like me and you meet again, you do something together, and it's not anymore like this talk. They ask you how it is for you in the new country, and you ask them how it's been for them. It gets a bit different, but I think everybody can, like everybody adjusts slowly.
Yeah, once I started realizing that, yeah, I have to figure out how to make this going back and forth work. I was trying to be there, like for the important holidays, for example. I don't know, winter holidays, summer holidays, maybe Easter's at the time. Spring is also a good time to go there at some time, at some point. And I usually try to be there 3 to 4 times per year. And also if there is something urgent or special happening, but I usually try to be there 3 to 4 times per year. It's not like always the same days every year. When I started living longer term in Austria, first thing that I did, I bought a car because from Austria it was possible to get to Serbia with car, and I was more flexible. I could just do a trip without planning it too much in advance, more spontaneously. Yeah, then psychologically it was easier. I felt like I am somehow closer once I had a car. I think I did not use this too much, but like I had this feeling, okay, if I feel down over the weekend, of course, it's going to be a very exhausting weekend, but if I want to go there for like a long weekend, I can spend it in Serbia. And this I could not do without a car. And this was one of my strategies, like what would make me feel better? What do I need to do to make me feel better and like less psychologically far away from my family and friends? And as I said, I did not do this very often because, of course, it's quite exhausting and demanding. But just the fact that I could do that made me feel easier. And then, of course, I was trying to keep some healthy level of visiting my family and friends. I remember I had a colleague who was from Austria. She was working with me some years ago, and then I was telling her, yes, like your family visited you shortly ago. Now you are soon going to visit them. So how often are you actually seeing each other? And I said, yes, I'm going to Serbia like 3, 4 times per year. Plus they're also usually visiting me. So yes, we see each other once in a couple of months at least, or at least some of the family members, because not all the time everybody is visiting me. And she was like, oh, that's quite often. Actually, I have 3 siblings, and I think I'm seeing them less than you are actually seeing your family. And it turned out the one that it was living the most further away was just like, I don't know, 150, 200 kilometers away. Not all of them were even that far away. And I realized that not all families are the same. And of course, even if you are living close to each other, this doesn't mean necessarily that you are going to see each other that often or keep in touch that much.
I just said I think not every family is the same. Not everyone is as connected and as close. But having some strategy is always good because even though you don't use it, even though you don't do it, at least it's psychologically easier to know that you have an option. When you, of course, I don't know how does it work in all sectors or in all places, but when you're working abroad or studying abroad and yeah, this kind of stuff, I think the bosses are way more understanding. And if you really feel homesick and you meet your family, your friends, something happens, good or bad, I think they're all really understanding and they would be fine with you going to see them. Even if you don't live as close, even if you have to change plans, the only question is financial. There are people who live on the other side of the world, or I don't know, it's very expensive to go back home. In that situation, strategy would have to be different. But if it's not too expensive, if it's not too far away, yeah, it's good to know that you can go back.
Yes. Okay. So when you mentioned flying, it's very true. This is a bit more complicated because now I live in Spain, and of course I cannot go by car home, and this demands more planning. Doesn't
Yes,
mean that you cannot get there. If something urgent is happening, it's possible, but still it needs more planning. And of course, financially is way more.
exactly. If you need to go urgently or if you need to go in very near future, then the tickets are probably more expensive. So then it's really financially demanding. Or if you want to have cheaper tickets, then you really have to plan in advance. There are these kind of things that make it a bit harder. But I guess it's possible for everyone to find something that would give them or bring them a peace of mind.
Yeah, some kind of strategy. Yes, also like when you mentioned planes, some places are not so well connected. For me now, the good thing is that there are direct flights from Madrid to Belgrade, 4, maybe even 5 times per week, but at least 4. But it was not like this until a couple of years ago. There were no direct flights between Madrid and Serbia. I cannot imagine how it was for people who were living here that time, because for sure it was way more complicated to plan. But for me, it works out. If I need also something more short term, maybe it's not like the direct flight, but something can be found. It's not so bad because it's still not
Yes.
so far away. It's not so long trip. It's not so expensive as it can be.
I think it's good for you and me because we have direct flights, but not all the places, even within the Europe, are that well connected.
Yeah, sure.
Some people might not live that far away, but need to change flights or need to drive for such a long time. So yeah, I'm quite sure it's not as easy for everyone, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, one thing I would like to mention here is that for me, friends and family members that are willing to visit from time to time, this means a lot. Because for me, the minimum is to go to Serbia 3 to like 4 times per year. But of course, if we can see each other more often, is way better. And in that sense, like also them coming to visit me, this means a lot. And especially, for example, with our nephew now, he's a toddler. And yes, he's changing so much, so fast. And yes, I'm trying to see him as frequently as possible because every time I see him, he's different. He learned some new tricks and
Yes,
he can do more stuff and he looks different. It's just amazing.
yes. Yeah, that's a good thing. It's really nice to watch him grow, and I think this is also even sweeter because every time you see him, you see how much he changed. But also on the other side, unfortunately, like for me, for our parents, you just see them getting old. So every time you go, you see them being older, and I think it goes both ways. So you
Yeah,
actually
again.
see that the things are going on. You left,
Yes, the
but the
life
things are going
moves
on.
on. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And yes, you are right. These things you're also noticing, like how all people that you know, they're changing and the
Mhm.
life moves on. Sometimes these kind of changes are making you also sad because you missed out some things and yeah, sometimes things are not changing for the better, let's say. But this makes you appreciate the time you have there and the time in general in life. I don't know if it's like me, growing
Mhm.
up and maturing, or it's just like this fact that I am living far away from my home. And then I am realizing that these moments that I can spend with people, not just with my family in Serbia, but
Mhm.
I just get to spend with people that are way more valuable. And yeah, you get to appreciate
Yeah,
people in your life way more.
you get to live in the moment more. Because when looking for visa and moving and everything, you think a lot about the future, and you are not able to be in the moment. And then when you move there, and when you start missing your family and missing your friends, then you live in the past and you think about them and everything. And then there is this um, imbalance. And once you come to peace that you move, that you are living away, that you are living abroad, that you get to see these specific moments, that you get to see your family only a few times a year and friends, even the friends that you made abroad, because as we said, we are in science. So a lot of people are coming and going, and you moved from Austria to Spain, and you just come to peace that okay, that's what's happening. You are seeing each other less than what you would like to. What you would you like it to be, and you just appreciate these moments when you are together. You just live in that moment.
I think that this is definitely the case, because if I were there in Serbia and I was spending every day with my family, I would not have so much of quality time with them, because they would be there all the time and I would take it for granted. And I think this way we have way more good quality moments.
Yeah, I would
Like that we are
agree.
doing things together, we are spending time with each other, we are talking to each other about what what are things going what is going on in our lives, what is troubling us, what are the good moments. So yes, overall you actually gain, because I think the good quality moments you have them more, maybe actually.
Yeah, I
Overall,
agree. I agree.
for me, it's important to mention that moving abroad made me more content with my job, my life in general, and this feeling of being satisfied with my life. I think it made my connections with people better. And I think if I stayed in Serbia, and also this last couple of years that I was in Serbia, I was maybe not able to be my best version, or whatever you call it, or the better version of myself, because of course I was stressed and I was not happy with how things were developing. And maybe I am now far away, but I think I am able to have better connections with people and to be a better friend or relative, family member if someone needs my help in whichever way.
Yeah, I totally agree. But I think it's not just that. I think it's also moving and getting a different perspective and meeting different kinds of people from different countries with different backgrounds and with different stories. And just listening to them and getting a bit of distance helps a lot.
Yes, this is very important, because it makes you also way more broad-minded is the word. Like you are capable of also understanding people in general way better, because you meet different people, you see that how different actually people, because when you are in a small environment, somehow it gets into you this feeling that everybody has to think the same, and why
Exactly.
people need to be having any deviation from whatever is considered the mainstream. And then once you start meeting more people and you realize how big diversity is among people in like character, culture, whatever, then you start also understanding people that were even earlier around you way better.
Yes.
In that
Yes.
sense, I think this is a very important point to mention,
Yes.
because this experience changes you so much, and I think that you are just actually developing as a person in that sense.
Yes, because we are able to also validate other people's experience. Because when we are in that environment, we are just unsatisfied all the time, unhappy. And once you get out of there and you can look at it from a different perspective and listen to other people, you then realize that you yourself were so unhappy and what you did out of that unhappiness. And then you look at the other people that were around you in your home country, and then you can understand them better and you can understand how they behave and why they behave that way.
You can only gain in that part. It helps you be better, like also with new people that you meet, and the old friendships and connections. There is one more thing that came to my mind. How would it be like going back? For example, what is very interesting for me, and this is what I heard for the, I think, first time since I moved, since I went abroad. This I heard in the last couple of years when I started living in Spain. For example, in Spain, you have also many people who left abroad and then they came back at some point. Sometimes even after like 7, 8, 10 years, they came back. And then they told me that first they were very excited going back to their hometown, or if they were from Madrid, coming back to Madrid. And at first they got this feeling of how it's everything is, they're just going to pick up where they stopped, like families, old friends, everything. But then they realized that in this, let's say, 10 years, they were away, that you changed and those people changed and you changed in a different direction. I met several people like who are on these kind of meetup groups for foreigners that are actually Spanish and they were actually born in Madrid, for example. But, and of course, they still have these old friends, and it's not like that they're completely discarding them, but that they realize that there is some part of them that these old friends cannot really understand, or that there are some topics that they cannot really talk about with these old friends, and that this is why they're looking for new friends on these foreigner groups, because one part of them is still feeling like this. They developed a part of their personality as expats, and they are looking for expats in their hometown.
Yeah, it feels like you became a foreigner in your own country.
Well, it's like not going back to the old place, but going to the new old place, or just a new place. Maybe it can be seen as just going to a new place. Okay, you have your family who is there. Of course, you have also some old friends who are there, but this is not enough. I don't have this experience, but I thought maybe it would be interesting to mention it, because I heard that there are these cases as well, that after some time, you cannot just go back and say everything is going to be as it used to.
Yeah, honestly, I can imagine it. When it was your wedding last year, I brought a friend of mine from Germany, and I took her, my friend, first to meet my friends from the science center that I mentioned. So it's a group of people, around 10, let's say, people, and we spent the night together. So my friends from Serbia and she from my friend from Germany. And oh my God, it felt like two worlds collided. I do feel different in a sense that, of course, my vocabulary, I have one vocabulary in English and the other one in Serbian. But my friend told me, "Oh, you are such a different person."
Yeah.
I don't know, emotions and body language and the way you speak, even though we were all speaking in English in front of her, but I was in that situation kind of translating from my Serbian self, let's say. And she told me that, yeah, I'm a completely different person. And then I started observing myself in the next few days. And when I came back to Germany again, and I really felt, okay, I'm really different. I kind of crave or need or search for different people in Serbia, and to different traits in Germany. And all my friends are completely different to each other, like the group of friends in Serbia to the group of friends in Germany. So I could really imagine people coming back to their home country and just craving, just having these old friends and her still being friends, but still craving the person that you became in the new country and craving this kind of relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, when you mentioned this kind of worlds colliding, it was a bit similar during my wedding, because I also had, of course, friends from Serbia there, and I also had friends from Austria there, and it was just so wonderful in a way, because there were people there, friends that I made in different phases of my life. But it was so much like, at times I was thinking, I am so happy that they're all here at the same time, that it might be too much at one point. Because yes, it's so great, but it's having so many different emotions at the same time, so many of memories coming back from this part of your life, that part of your life.
Yes.
All this getting mixed. It's just crazy. At one point, it was so great and wonderful, but the other point, it was emotionally maybe a bit exhausting because I mean, it was not too much at the end. I think it was not too much, but I was scared almost all the time that at some point it's just going to be too much of so many wonderful people that I have in life, and they're all there, and it's just like bringing back memories, and yeah, it was just
Yeah, it's
very
just
strange feeling.
yeah, exactly. I can't even imagine how it must have been for you because, as you said, you had all of your friends at one place. But I think we just make friends in different life stages, and we are different when we make certain friendships, and it's just really hard to have all of that in one place because basically your different parts of personality are colliding.
Yes,
So
I think this is why these kind of events are almost like once in a lifetime. Maybe not once in a lifetime, but this is definitely something that it's not repeating.
it's not recommended to repeat.
Yes, once in or twice in life, and that's it because it's so
Yeah.
intense.
That's why I think I can imagine the people coming back to the country of origin and searching for expat.
So should we conclude with something? I think this was, I just want to say that yes, missing people never stops, but I think this is something that you carry with yourself no matter where you are. Because even if you are staying in your home place, other people might leave. It's just how it is. Simply, this is part of life. And I think it's just important to be aware of the moments that's like you are together with people in general, and also to just plan these things, like just don't let time pass by and like not going to visit or making plans together and stuff. I think it's very important to be aware of these things and always have on your mind some plans for some period to see people, because it makes you feel even also better, and also like not letting time to pass, as I mentioned. So
Yeah,
this is from
I
my
would
side.
I would totally agree with you. I would just add that this way, like I just said, people come and not everything is permanent, even if we don't move. And I
Yeah.
think with moving, we become quite aware that everything is temporary and or most of the things are temporary and we
No,
just
everything is temporary.
so we learn to live in the moment and to enjoy the moment, and we appreciate people that are in our life at the time even more. So yeah, sure, it has its ups and downs, but overall, I think it can be really beautiful.
Yes, this is a good way to finish this episode. Maybe just to mention that we have other social networks, media, that you can check out. It's in the description of our channel and this video. And
Stay
yes,
tuned and follow us for more.
yes, and we also cover related videos to this topic, like making friends in a new country, how it feels to leave your home place. So check them out as well. Okay, bye.
Bye bye.